W7M and INTZ in this Brazilian championship ended in victory for the Intrepid. The last one was a real ordeal for the Bulls, who even managed to get back on the scoreboard, but ended up being defeated 7-4.
O jogo contra a INTZ foi jogo bem difícil, a gente entrou muito morno na partida, mesmo no lado da defesa da Oregon, a gente acabou tomando 4-0 ali no início, e aí a INTZ teve uma vantagem muito grande, depois a gente tentou buscar, mas um time tão qualificado quanto o da INTZ acabou fechando a partida ali, foi jogo bem ruim da nossa parte.
But if INTZ can count on hindsight, there is at least one problem that the team has to consider in the upcoming match. Igor, who knows INTZ well, is now the one directing the strategies in W7M.
Agora que eles têm o Igor lá, né, que era do nosso time, ele entende bastante como eu penso sobre o jogo, como o time pensa sobre o jogo, principalmente o Vitão, que é o nosso capitão. Então a gente tem que ficar muito atento com o counter, que tipo, é uma característica muito forte do jogo deles, né?
INTZ also has the moral reinforcement of being the current champions of the Copa do Brasil, a competition in which teams from the bottom of the table, such as W7M, were unable to reach the final. Despite the differences between the Bulls and the Intrepid, at least within the server, the teams agree on one thing: you can't mess with Hornets.
Atualmente, acho que o nosso jogador com mais impacto no jogo é o Hornet. Ele é um cara que vem performando muito bem e tá conseguindo se encontrar dentro do nosso time, que era uma coisa que quando ele entrou no time ele teve dificuldade. Hoje ele consegue se encontrar dentro do time, então eu acredito que deve ser o cara com mais impacto na nossa equipe hoje em dia.
Eu acho que o Hornetão ele tá num momento individual muito bom, foi aí um dos grandes destaques no fim do split também na Copa do Brasil, então um cara pra estar de olho.
Will Igor take advantage of his knowledge of the Intrepid to tie a tactical knot in his opponents? That's what you'll be seeing next in this showdown between W7M and INTZ.
Well, there's no easy way to put it, is there, Ollie? W7M have to win this match if they want to avoid relegation. And even then, if they do win the match, well, it all comes down to the result of the Santos game after this. So a lot of pressure riding on them right now.
It really is. W7M have got a pretty tough day at the office ahead of themselves. But if there's anything, if there's a positive, should we say, to be taken away from it, it is that they've played exceptionally well in their previous game this weekend. We saw them play against Furia. We saw them get a good result there. We did see them lose against FaZe, but they have been playing pretty well as of late. And it seems as though this is going to be, it's as good a motivation as any, really, isn't it? To come out and give us a good showing tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Got to talk about INTZ, though, haven't we, for a second, Demo? They beat NIP 7-2 yesterday. That was really impressive to watch. So now the question is, can they carry on that momentum? Because it's two teams that have had, honestly, lackluster stages so far. Not the best performances out from either squad. Both with big wins under their belt yesterday. Both showing that they have the potential to come out swinging. Is it going to happen is the real question.
I mean, INTZ can't really go up, and they can't really go down. So, INTZ are just in that limbo phase where they're just going to play Siege, I suppose. They're not really much in it for them. Of course, W7M, we know the circumstances that they're under, so they're under a lot of pressure today. But I think W7M, whenever they are under that pressure, have looked extremely well.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you like to see, though. The teams that are able to work under the pressure. W7M absolutely showing that. Ollie, let's take a quick look over at the map vetoes. You can maybe run us through maybe the thought process behind them, because I think it is going to be an interesting one to see, with INTZ not really having to worry too much about where they go. It's all the pressure on W7M, seemingly.
Yeah, quite possibly. I mean, the Copa do Brasil is still a reality, so INTZ are going to want to keep something a little bit closer to their chests, maybe, in terms of hiding a map or so. But again, they're going up against an entirely different league of players in there, so it's a little bit unknown as to what they're going to be facing up against. But the bans, as they swing through Coastline, Oregon Clubhouse, Villa, all the sort of very strategic maps there being removed. Bank and Chalet, the last two, so it's going to leave us with a Kafe. That's maybe a little bit more surprising. It's not somewhere that we were really expecting to go. It's a good map for W7M. I think that they've probably done a great job here in terms of this banning phase. They didn't have the last decision. It was actually INTZ that had that last decision. But if we look at W7M, we can see that they have played this map before this stage. They played it against Santos. It feels like way back in sort of week number 1 or 2. And they're actually able to get the win there. So a great start for the stage was had by W7M. A nice early lead there. I think, if I'm not mistaken, it was in and around sort of week 3 off the top of my head that we saw this game come through. So it's been a while, you know, it was a while ago, let's be honest, but still, it's a win nonetheless. W7M, we're going to be happy that they've been able to get to this map. As far as INTZ are concerned, we don't know what to expect here. We've not seen them play on a Kafe. It isn't a map we get to see a great deal of inside of BR6. I'm maybe a little bit more surprised that it wasn't a chalet, to be honest with you. I think that would have suited both of these teams quite nicely. But W7M going into this one as the team with the pressure on their shoulders. But we know that they can perform.
They absolutely can. Demo, we should probably talk about INTZ for a second here, though, because while W7M have a strong history over on this map, INTZ, well, they haven't played it in recent history, really, so there's the possibility that they were trying to keep those cards held close to their chest, expecting to go to a different map, now potentially going to be forced to release some more strategies, and I cannot wait to get a translation of what that sign says.
I mean, to be fair, the only thing I would counter with that is they could be hiding maps, sure, but like I said, this match means very, very little in terms of INTZ's caliber. So, I don't know. It's gonna be a fun one, I suppose. I think it'll just be W7M have to come in. INTZ will just play probably like they did against NIP, and they just kind of ran around NIP. So, I wouldn't be surprised to see the same thing happen today for INTZ again.
Now, the question is, how are INTZ going to perform? Because they are really deciding W7M's fate to a certain extent. Are they going to be, you know, sweating it out, trying their hardest to get that momentum going into the Copa do Brasil? Or, Ollie, is it going to be a case of them not really caring, playing it a little bit slower, and more so just trying to keep those strategies hidden and not reveal anything potentially going forward?
I'm not sure that INTZ have got the say in terms of how this one plays out. I really feel as though W7M are going to come out and grab this one by the horns. They're a team that are very capable, and we've seen a lot of consistency in a lot of the things that they do. We've talked so often about Herds in his opening engagement, and I think that that's something that's going to potentially really look to start to carry through now what W7M are going to try and do here. They need to find that level of consistency and start to capitalize on it. Herds is currently third highest rated in terms of entry kill. He's +9 at the moment. So that's not going to be a great situation for INTZ to be in, given that INTZ aren't a team that do very well from fighting from a man down. So already there's a little bit of something there that tells me I'm not sure that this is really in INTZ's hands all too much. I think that they're passengers in this. The star of the show has got to be W7M. Everything's on them.
Absolutely. Well, they performed well under pressure yesterday. Let's see if they can do it again, because it's game number 2 of the evening. W7M versus INTZ over here on Kafe. Ollie, Demo, take it away.
Thank you, Chunks. Game number 2 of the night. W7M, are they going to avoid that relegation battle? INTZ, are they going to stand in the way of that? Are they even going to get a say in that conversation? We'll find out here. Kafe is going to be the map that we go to. Lion and the Nomad. Straight away. Big bands. Big bands for Kafe, Demo.
I've seen bigger bands. Nomad's a good one. I mean, Nomad just shows me that INTZ will be jumping out of windows. That screams run around the map. Literally what they did against NIP. So already we know exactly the game plan from INTZ. W7M, how are they going to deal with that aggression though? That is the real question for them. You look at W7M, they played against Furia on Villa yesterday, Ollie. And Furia literally played that mentality, the run around the map meta. And W7M were able to combat that. If that's the case, then this matchup could actually go very heavily into W7M's favor.
It all comes down to that opening kill, doesn't it? Herds is so consistent on it that it's something that you really can't start to ignore. Valkyrie's been allowed through here. Cade and Wamai have been removed as the 2 defender bans. But with Valkyrie being available, it just gives so much information over to these defenders, especially on a map like Kafe. You think about exterior Valkyrie cameras here, Demo. that could really play into the aggression if that's something that W7M wants to try and bring.
So, straight into it. Upstairs defense from W7M is where we stand. They have a castle being brought to out. Very exotic lineup. Not only do they have the castle, Frost makes an appearance also. Only thing they'd be missing out on is probably Jaeger. I think not having a Jaeger in this lineup, and maybe even an Aruni to an extent. This is a bit of a scary defense lineup if you're up against a lot of nades. Sadly for W7M, the current meta is always double nades. We're always seeing double nades. Iana has always been an insta-pick. The rise of Finka during this split has been incredible. And we're seeing both those operators here today on INTZ's lineup.
Very strange to not see any catches, as you say. I'm kind of surprised. I think we did see the Jaeger 6 picked from, which, again, just begs a bit of a question, but W7M obviously feeling confident. Herds, is he going to pad those opening kills yet again? No, the C4 goes a little bit too far. Vitz tried to shoot it out mid-air, but missed. Big attempt, but -1 and the only C4 that W7M were bringing here.
Valkyrie being left open inside of Kafe is always a scary one. What do you think of this this weapon skin, by the way, in the Valkyrie? I don't know if you caught that. It kind of blocks your view a little bit. That's maybe not the best to have. That's a cool Valkyrie skin though. But
oh yeah, there we go.
Is that Halloween one? Is that the new one? What is that? I don't know where that came from. Never seen that one before.
We talk about players like blocking out like opponents with like a holographic, but there you've got like little bits sprouting on either side.
Yep.
Maybe we see a swift change from that. The opening kill has been found. Zach shuts down Panico. Frost removed. Sent to the cameras, of which I think there's a couple that he's going to be able to man here. EN just looking to play on the hatch as well. W7M. A very passive playstyle from them. They are letting a lot of things happen around them here. They don't seem to be in too much of a position to be making any big plays or making any big rotations. Just got to wait and see how INTZ choose to push this.
There's the nade being tossed in. Hertz takes a little bit of shrapnel damage, but not enough to really cause him any issues at all. INTZ using the vertical game, using that buck into reading. Zach, though, does get downed, and unfortunately he is thinking, but he cannot pick himself up. Here comes Herds, and we'll find two. The frost match, the Ollie. It was the decider in that engagement, and Herds goes nuclear Ollie. Jumps at the window, eliminates Hornatau. Vitz should be able to get the refrag off. Hertz is playing this extremely well, knowing that somebody's probably going to be waiting for him, and he can just stay outside, waste the time. Doesn't matter if they know he's here. They still have to try and kill him. Vitz will swing around now with the shotgun, eliminates him, but Hertz, my oh my, what a round he has pulled out of his back pocket.
10 seconds left. Still time for INTZ to try and salvage this, although it's looking increasingly more unlikely. A frost mat will do a lot of the damage, and the Alder the rest. Free fires on through the window. Final 2 kills there being found. Herds once again the difference maker here for W7M.
Frostmat just set off a chain reaction of unfortunate circumstances for INTZ right there. My oh my, a Frostmat on such a, I mean, a bit of a basic position that you wouldn't really expect to see somebody walk into. But it's happened. It has unfortunately happened for INTZ. But W7M, they're happy enough. They'll take that first round. It wasn't looking too good for them, Ollie. They lost that opening pick. But now they will move on now to their second bomb site choice. And it's going to be over towards the reading room.
No frost this time. Instead, Herds has said, you know what? Someone else take the MPX. I got 3 kills with it. It's warmed up. It's accurate. It's zeroed in. pass that on to somebody else. I'll pick up Vigil in the K1A and see if I can cause even more chaos.
It's not as if you hand your gun to somebody. It doesn't work like that. You know, it's not as if you've cleaned your weapon. Oh, it's a brand new weapon. Come on now.
No, he passes it to Panico. He goes like, "Look, I've zeroed this. It's good. Like it's accurate. It's firing true. You've now got no excuses with it." He's just warmed Valkyrie up for Panico.
Are we selling MPXs now? Is that what we've turned into? Away from the Maverick blowtorches, we're now selling MPXs.
I tell you what, you don't need to sell an. I don't think anyone could sell an MPX. If the you look at Warden.
Yeah.
Ain't no one selling the MPX. Valkyrie has brought one thing only.
Go and don't hit in the MPX. Come on, just hit your headshots.
I'm just
That's
bad.
it. Oh. Get you in the staff hubs. Get you into the desert juice stacks. You ever been first rounded? Play with Dez. So, what?
Oh, what a shot! Excuse me?
That's the classic Boldo jiggle peek.
Honestly, Zach just cracking couple of entries for him here. He got the entry in the first round as well onto Panico. Now, it didn't do INTZ any favours there. He's been able to remove Kai's, which, of course, is the Mozzie. Gets rid of the Roni, gets rid of a C4.
No Jaeger again. That's like another worry. I just feel for W7M that they're going to have issues, especially on a bomb site like Reading, where it is very heavy into the top floor hold. Nades are going to just completely obliterate your lineup. I mean, one nade onto white stairs, that man's dead. Wee is dead. And will it happen? Okay. Might have heard the pin and quickly ran away, so a good decision. But even still, the fact that he has to then play around nades isn't helping him at all.
We've often seen W7M be very stubborn in some of their decisions, like not bringing a hard breacher, sticking to certain sites, or not bringing a Jaeger. And this kind of feels like it could be one of those occasions. They are able to fight back. C4 will land onto Hornetau. But it's a small win at this moment, given that there's a minute left. And still, INTZ have pretty much free reign of that top floor. GDN going to be holding an angle close with the shotgun. Panico looking to make his way up the stairs as well. But I imagine there's a lot of work going on upstairs in terms of removing a lot of that floor. The C4 comes out, but it won't be successful. Zach with the swing will. He's going to be going up against the shotgun at fairly close range here. Waits for the perfect time, but does get pumped down into the dirt. 3 versus 2. A lot of that floor has now been opened. It's going to make it very difficult for GDN to push on through. Neither player has a C4, and with the vertical angles that are being held, it's going to be difficult to push on in. Guy takes out Drunks. GDN looking for a rotation now. The plant being threatened. He's thinking about pushing his way on through. Will be taken down by VNX, however. Guy has made a full rotation upstairs, but he's a little bit too late. Needs to rush on in and start to use some of these holes that the attackers have already made. Looks for the pre-fire, misses by a millimeter, and the plant will go down. VNX off the plant, straight upstairs, looking in the right direction. Through the holes, is able to pick that last kill.
Difficult position for Guy to be in there, but I mean, 2v1 probably would have been, I think, a better option. Maybe the swing pillar at that stage rather than the vertical game, mostly because there wasn't actually an opening that he could have utilized to eliminate the diffuser. You know, we've seen that. He tried to go upstairs and use the vertical action, but he just couldn't see anything. That massive wooden closet is just going to completely ignore it. So, yeah, it's a rough one for him. But INTZ will get their first round on the board. W7M have gave away the opening pick twice now. I wonder if that's going to be a recurring theme. And it is strange to see W7M lose that opening engagement, because they have been one of the best teams this split of getting that opening pick.
Yeah, something's not working for them, is it, at the moment? They're getting picked off on the defense quite easily. Zach's just, I don't want to say got lucky, but his pre-fires have been on point, and he's known exactly where to be headed and looking. The side change downstairs into the kitchen now, and telltale audio cue and the sound of that Tachanka. EDN is ripping up the site. I think he might have just removed that entire wall demo. I don't see it at the moment, but yeah, a lot of that wall has been taken out at the top there. going to allow C4s through and Toxic Babe canisters.
My word.
Rotation in through Bakery as well. It's a
Never seen that before. That's a new one for me.
pretty aggressive hold here.
Yeah, you would see the odd kind of hold be made, but the entire line is definitely gives you a big range of, you know, throwing stuff out if you need to. And of course, I think the Molotovs that the Chanka is going to bring is another reason why it's going to have to be a big radius. Trying to thread the needle with some of those Molotovs can be a little bit tricky. But of course, you know me, Ollie. I see the Chanka on the lineup and I think, why? Why? You know, I see what they're trying to achieve. They're going very heavy with the Bakery extent. They've opened up that wall that leads into Bakery. But at the moment, Bakery takes haven't really been too favored, I feel, for attackers. It's still very much so the fight into VIP and Restaurant and then try and work way into Freezer. And that's already the action that we're seeing. But W7M have picked up kills left, right, and center. And they will command this round for the foreseeable future as they stand 2 versus 4. VNX and Drunks, the last 2 players alive. But they themselves are not in great positions.
They're really not. It's very quickly gone to W7M there. They've won a lot of the engagements on the windows, and some of those shots they had no business taking. They've been able to get the job done regardless. Over a minute and a half left for VNX and Drunks to try and make something happen. W7M not really giving them too much to go on. No real need to push too aggressively. No need to start going at this one at a time and get taken out. Instead, W7M can just relax into this round. VNX has recovered the diffuser. He's going to be making his way round toward this main door area to join up with Drunks, but game is up and Drunks' location is now known. Dancing around an engagement with Guy, and instead chooses to make his way back upstairs. VNX triggers the goo mine on his way through the double window. Flashbangs now go out. INTZ are just going to go for a very direct approach here. Honestly, they haven't got much other option. No cameras available for W7M, as demonstrated by the fact that Herds is actually looking at Shanka's point of view right now. Not as if he's got a black eye camera to go on, but the goo mines are going to be information enough. VNX triggers another as he makes his way through that main lobby. And the headshot beautifully presented for Kai's. All he's got to do is hold mouse 1 there as he picks up yet another kill inside of this round. Drunks can move on through. He can maybe recover the diffuser, but in 25 seconds, realistically, what's he going to be able to do? Draws a circle around the head of Kai's. Kai's finds his 3rd on the round.
It's a better round from W7M. Definitely better from them. Some very quick kills being won. We didn't really get to see the full picture of where those kills happened, but it did seem to be orchestrated around VIP and Restaurant anyway. That was like the main kind of take that INTZ went for. I thought it was very, very risky seeing them push in that side of the map with literally one guy pushing in from Freezer side. I kind of question why there wasn't more of a setup. You know, they were in straight away, Ollie. You should be doing your drone work. You know, you have the nades. We've kind of talked about the lack of ADSs is somewhat costed W7M in some rounds. It doesn't let them play as freely in some positions. Of course, while am being banned out as well, you know the only thing that a team can bring is going to be the Jaeger at the end of the day. So, yeah, I'm just very surprised that INTZ tried to push that so fast rather than taking their time to really look at the full picture and then trying to formulate a plan.
W7M with the lead for the time being, back up to the top floor, where they were successful back in round number 1. Partly due to the fact that they'd actually brought Frost. The Frost from Panico actually attested to a couple of nice pog mats, which really made the job a little bit easier. Quite a significant switch around. He's actually opted for the mirror as well. This time, Herds is going to be on the Aruni. It's something that sort of mentioned demo might be a good idea to bring in conjunction with the castle, and they've got the Jaeger, so they've almost gone full circle. They've gone from fairly unpredictable and strange lineup to pretty much exactly what you would expect. It is the 4th operator that Herds has played, so he's really flexing around trying to find where he's comfortable at the minute. Second nade going to be used here to try and remove that castle barricade, as the first wasn't successful, and immediately greeted with a laser gate.
Those mirror windows will be tricky. Very, very tricky to deal with. Of course, you may be thinking, okay, sure, they have the banner, but you also have to have the mute jammers get rid of as well, and it really comes down to see how well Drunks can do with some of his placements. The big benefit, though, I would say about having the Thatcher and Kafe is that you can Thatcher through the floor, as in you can go onto the rooftop, throw a Thatcher above the mirror window, and the EMP would actually, you know, fall down and disable the mute jammer from that aspect. So that is one thing that you have to be cautious of if you are playing with the mirror and the mute, if you know Thatcher is up on the board. Just wonder if Ints are going to be interested in that, really. It looks as if they're scattered about looking for some opening picks, perhaps. Definitely seems to be the case for them. Panico lurking below on the castle, roaming castle. Don't see him all too often. It just seems as if Ints are just very determined in piano control. They're playing it pretty safe. Like I said, these mirror windows still being open kind of disables them. Just entirely of trying to push in towards piano. But no one Ints, they'll have a good game plan, and I'm sure they'll work their way around and try and eliminate that mirror window as best as they can.
What is Panico doing here? He's way out, going for the run out. Is he going to be able to land the shots? He certainly puts some damage in, but isn't able to land the finishing blow. Hornetow actually takes down Herds there, so must have been a bit of a double peak going on there from the bottom of White as well. Hornetow's actually been successful in taking him down. Kai's next to fall. Zach, consistently finding kills in these rounds, is able to shut him down as well. Advantage firmly here in Intz's favour. Guy with the fight back, picks one. Can he grab the second? Very unpredictable place to stop, and a great play from Guy. Eventually will fall, but GDN picks up Zach on the site before being traded as well. It's very back and forth stuff. It's Drunks versus Panico. It's 1 versus 1. Drunks inside bar. He's going to be pushing his way through. Panico just has to hold on to the angle. I'm not sure if Drunks has got live information here.
No,
Inkastim will expire. There's going to be a rotation here in the wall, but Drunks is trying to bait out which direction. Panico gives the game away with a little bit of a pre-fire. Drunks going to try and push on through. Does he know that he is hard left? I would wager the answer is going to be no. Panico lands his shots. The roaming castle works out, Demo.
Oh, that's a tough one. Holds his nerve in the 50-50. Difficult position for Thatcher to be in. The whole ollie it was too small really for him to get a certain angle, and whenever you're pushing into that element, we know Castle just has to hold on to 1 pixel and they'll win that round, and that's exactly what happened. Close, but still W7M being able to reign victorious in that round. We've seen them kind of switch up their norm ollie. Of course, we've seen Mira make an appearance inside of that round. Aruni was one that we really hadn't seen from them, so you can see that they're kind of adapting to what Ints had been bringing. Ints being very heavy with the utility, the nades and whatnot. But then again, that did sacrifice some of the live information that maybe they would have wanted to add, or have, should I say. You think of the Valkyrie, which had been big for them. So, there's pros and cons to some of their changes, but that time it did work for them.
3 rounds to 1. W7M starting to streak a little bit of a lead here. Back down to Reading. Chance for them to extend it even further. Ints are just lacking a little bit of bite on the attack. Seeing them consistently pick up a couple of kills, but they're just not able to really get a full handle of just how W7M are defending this. There's a big lack of information. I think the Nomad ban is really starting to hurt Ints. Kind of strange that, given that they start on the attack, they were the team that chose to ban out the Nomad. Obviously, it speaks to them wanting that free rotation and freedom to go wherever they like when they're on the defense, but they've got to deal with that whilst they're on the attack, and the flank drones just haven't really been sufficient. They're trying to get themselves in, take this top floor control. Close round last time, Demo, as well. It really came down to the wire.
Yeah, it was very, very close to 1v1. Can't get much closer than that. Like, Valkyrie Camera will be eliminated by Drunks and Panico. You'll find out soon enough that, maybe not the greatest ideas. So that is some wasted utility, wasted information from W7M. Hence, they're going for a much different approach, ollie, to a reading attack. they're looking to pressure the east windows. Don't really see this all too often. Especially with Nomad being banned out, it is pretty risky. We know jump outs are always going to be a common occurrence on Kafe. That certainly could happen for them. W7M seem to be pretty slumber at the moment. I think you maybe panic who sees an opening there. Ollie could jump out of the garage. And here comes the nades. Of course, they have the ADSs this time, but ADSs cannot cover all of that utility all at once. Herbs gets absolutely peppered from the window. Tries to toss out some smokes, and there's a nade also. Vits and Drunks appear with 2 kills. And that entire top floor from W7M has been annihilated. And they're going to have to rebuild this round and see what they can do. Attackers have the top floor pressure now. And this really should just be clockwork, I feel, for INTZ to win this round out.
They really should just have to go through the motions. As you say, that top floor control has been gained, and it was quite costly, really, for W7M. They paid for it dearly. They've lost both of their SAS operators, the smoke and the mute, the Toxic Babe canisters, and a C4. Certainly not ideal. Kai's playing below white stairs. He has got a line of sight and a chance to make something happen here. Guy in a good position as well in case any attackers do choose to make that drop down. He's going to be in position to do something about it. Kai's make that rotation, move a little bit further up white, but he has been caught out on the drone. He finds one onto Vits, puts shots in onto a second, but the plant is being confirmed now. The NX is starting to nail it to the floor, despite it being a 3 versus 3. There's nobody in position to do anything about it. Panico comes in late. Kai's finds one as well, and it is now down to Zach and Hornetal. One player at the bottom of Reed and Door. He's going to be dealt with on pillars. Guy, a great bit of positioning from him there. He's found 2 from pillars. Both crucial kills. Hornetal from above does find one, but taken out by the second. Great double peek there, and the defuse, well, it's already being dealt with. Guy in position to disable. 2 go for the peak, 1 goes for the disable. Great retake there from W7M.
Yeah, very, very impressed with how they played out that retake. The fact that they were able to pull that back to a 3v3 was phenomenal. I thought it was looking really grim for them. But as soon as that diffuser got planted, Ollie, you could see that they knew, okay, look at the plant position. It's above vertical holes. We have to go above. And they double pushed. They were able to take the trade. The fact that Guy was able to swing pillar and kill a man was also great from them. And yeah, W7M played it just how you would expect them to in that scenario. Very smart, didn't panic, knew they had a lot of time still to work with. And yeah, just thoroughly impressed. This team, Ollie, just impresses me every Playday.
Last round of the defense here for W7M. Chance for a 5-1. We might get ourselves back on schedule here, Demo, if this game continues to go this way. Serious chance we could catch up to the max OT that we saw to kick off things.
No, I'm ready for, how many would it be? 75 rounds potentially we could cast today. I'm up for it.
Yeah?
Yep.
I'm not sure we're going to need it, honestly, with the way that W7M are playing at the minute.
Maybe you're just weak. Are you weak, Ollie?
I'm more than prepared for it. I'm just not sure that we're going to. I'm not sure that we're going to need all the rounds available.
I don't know.
Could change when we switch the sides. The side switch could be quite significant.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, Kafe is on the same lines as what Oregon is, and on the same lines as what Consulate used to be, where a team could go 5-1 up, and then we see reverse sweep, or we see teams being able to match that energy. That happens a lot in these certain maps. How many times have I seen a team go 5-1 up in Kafe and lose 7-5 is incredible. So, never count your chickens. But, then again, yes, I do agree it is looking unlikely. I think W7M have been on top of their game, and it is how we're expecting them to play, considering the circumstances that they're under.
Because even this win doesn't guarantee them, I don't think. I think they're still then reliant on what happens in the Santos game later on, so it's really just a case of doing as much as they can to then see what happens in the other games. But at least they can rest easy knowing that they've given it their best bet. In terms of this round, Drunks is going to be the first player to fall. Again, INTZ unsuccessful on that entry. It's something they've struggled with since the first couple of rounds, where Zach was doing a really good job of it. Vertical control is now being gained. Vits is going to be above with the skeleton key. He can rip up a lot of that floor into prepping into kitchen. See if he can catch any of these defenders caught lacking. It's going to force the defenders out of the sight as well. Maybe into the waiting arms of other players from INTZ hanging in the wings.
This sort of kitchen, I feel, is always a bit of a difficult challenge for defenders. It's just the vertical action you can get is incredible. There is a monumentous amount of holes that you can open up, and there's really no safe position that a player can sit. That's where I think we've kind of developed into the meta, Ollie, where teams would leave the freezer wall open, and then you'd play very heavy in towards VIP and restaurant, because not only does that kind of stop somebody dropping the freezer hatch, but it also gives you another option to get back into the bomb site. So that's exactly what we're seeing right now. It's correctly so. We'll try and take these fights on the VIP and restaurant, and they haven't rushed it. They're taking their time this time around, and they've got the kills for it. W7M are starting to crumble.
INTZ is going to find one onto Guy as Zach looks to move on through. Himself up a second. Panico GDN got a lot to hold on to inside of 20 seconds. You can hear the skeleton key still putting in a lot of work here. GDN has some information. He can try and go for a swing here. The Toxic Babe's doing a great job of cutting off anybody and pushing in through Garage. Panico maybe just moves at the wrong time. Corner out and Zach pick up those final 2. 3 kills on the round for Zach there. Real big impact on that LMG. INTZ, they managed to salvage a round at the end. A 4-2 split for W7M.
Not too bad. Not too bad for W7M. INTZ have completely just rectified everything that they did wrong the last time they attacked the kitchen. They didn't rush to the VIP. They played it as safe as they could. They went above, used the vertical action, knowing that everyone's out of the bomb site. They could only be in either bakery or the VIP side, and they set up their angles, they burned the utility, and that's where I think Wamai being banned out is very difficult to deal with. If you are W7M, you're only relying on the ADSs, and ADSs can only burn so much before they're pretty useless at that stage. So, yeah, very impressed by INTZ. Good round to pull back. Now they get the defense. They banned Nomad for a reason. I'm expecting an aggressive jump out playstyle from them this game.
I mean, you've laid the gauntlet down at that point, haven't you? You've said if you're banning Nomad and you're attacking first, you are going to run rampant on the defense. Now, whether we see that or not remains to be seen. Their lineup doesn't scream run out, although there are elements of it. We've got the Alibi, we've got the Valkyrie for those cameras. Valkyrie's going to be a must pick, obviously available, so needs to be played for that intel. There's potential for a little bit of run out. There's potential for some big rotations. They're only bringing 1 C4, so it's not like they really want to stack inside of pillars and read in and play for a little bit of denial. And then you throw the Clash into the mix, and you just think, well, that is just hard anchor if ever you've seen one. So it's almost like it's a lineup that's a little bit unsure as to how it wants to go about things. But GDN has at least been forced onto the Gridders pick. He's going to be playing Gridlock. Not often we get to see Gridlock played. Obviously, a 3 armor, or well, I mean, that's a little bit old hat now, I guess, isn't it? What are we calling him now, Demo? Maximum health operator or something like that?
125, I believe, is
it a 125er?
Yeah, I believe 125 is the correct terminology.
Basically, slow and loud is all you need to know. And as such, we don't really see a lot of operators that are that category.
Mm-hmm. I do like the Clash pick, though, from INTZ. Whenever we know that Wamai is being banned out, Clash is actually a pretty good operator for burning utility from attackers, because a lot of people will see Clash and think, oh, let's throw a nade at her. Clash can easily maneuver around a nade. You know, she can hear you cooking a nade. All she has to do is walk back a couple of inches, and you won't be able to get her. So she herself kind of enforces teams to panic and throw everything in the kitchen sink at her, and in reality, you're not really going to kill the Clash in that scenario, and therefore you're burning up utility. I think some people forget that. You still have a massive bulletproof shield with 125 health. It's a lot to go through. You combo that with a Thunderbird to heal her back up, whew, you're in trouble.
Panico okay? Oh, he's lining up a nade. Panico's one of the players that does really like to line nades up, and it's good to watch him do it. I'm not sure if it's going to actually come to anything here. Kai's grabs the opener, shuts down Zach. Little bit of bait and switch maybe there. Herds is going to be cooking a nade that has got VNX's name all over it. And it's going to do quite a bit of damage, but VNX is still up. Not taken out just yet, and with Clash's shield, it is going to be relatively easy for him to remaneuver himself back. Someone please land some shots! Vitz finally takes Kai's down. There we see the MPX and the P shooter that it really is. A couple of kills, grab back, and things all level. He now has to try and rush on through. Knows there's going to be somebody on brown stairs. Only needs to land a few and will do just that. Gets the down onto Vitz. Don't forget, VNX is extremely low as well. So Drunk's really with a lot of pressure on him here.
So how will Instran recover? It is a 2v2 and they have the Clash, but I mean, Clash ain't really going to be any good to Ollie if she cannot shoot back. So a lot of it does rely on Drunks. He has to go big now. They do have information, I think, from the black guys. You can see 3 players from Ints all sitting on the cameras. And this is where they can feed that information over. GDN will try and move in that for the diffuser. Under the cover of the fog, the Clash is trying to battle back, but the flashbangs will delay her for the meantime, and diffuser is down. All of them trying to flurry out and get away from that bomb site as well as they can. I think the rotation up red will now be the go-to idea for W7M. Both of them now stacked up on one another. One underneath Newbound. Drunk has to go big. Will win one against Gui. And now we have to see the diffuser come in. VNX will try and delay the gridlock as best as he can. Is that going to be enough to delay the time? Drunk's kill at the right moment. Loses the engagement though. Drunks maybe could have got the diffuser down, but it's all for naught. Now VNX has the SMG in hand. Constant pings come out from the alibi. The shield goes up against him, and GDN fires through with the LMG. My oh my, what a round, Ollie. Could he have stuck it?
Could he have stuck it? Quite possibly.
He could have. I really do.
It was nail-biting stuff as well, because VNX was one shot, 1 or 2 steps into those gridlocks, and he would have been out of the game as well. So it was a really tense one. He had to be so careful in how he approached.
I think he got off at a second. I think it was 1 second and he got off it.
And don't forget, you're dealing with a gridlock. Gridlock's slow. Got to go through a laser gate. Like, getting stunned all the time. Very, very tense stuff. That's the time that you want a 125. That's all I'm going to say. You need that little bit of ability to tank. It was a very scrappy round. Drunk's got a great kill there as he was able to actually swing onto the Hibana and pick the frag up. But got to wonder if there was the opportunity there. It wasn't a lot of time that really needed to be stuck. And again, a question on to how VNX played that. Maybe came off it a little bit too soon. Obviously couldn't go through the rotation. That was one of his biggest problems there. The hole just wasn't sufficient between the top of red and into piano. But last, W7M continue their fine form. 5 rounds to 2. Looking to make it 6. Site change here as well. Int's not feeling confident going back up to that top floor. Instead, they're going to take us to read-in. They'll still defend upstairs, but thinking that site is maybe a little bit too available for the attackers.
5-2. 5-2. W7M. Very, very impressed again, Ollie. We have to commend them for their perseverance. I mean, this is the side that came into this split, Ollie, bottom of the overall standings. And yes, they have, they've lost quite a few games this season, but they haven't played bad. I personally don't believe they played bad. I think every game that they've had, it was an almost victory. Well, maybe excluding some. Maybe you look at the FaZe game, but then again, the FaZe game, they also played really well. A 7-3, I don't think, showed that scoreline. You look at whenever they played against Team 1 in the first Playday, and 8-7 almost had that game. They played against NIP, almost had that game also. There has been moments for W7M where they could have won, but they just couldn't.
Closing the game is really a big problem for W7M, and closing the door and really getting the points on the board. But it's something that it feels as though they're slowly but surely getting better with it, and they haven't had that slow start or that lull inside of this game just yet. Sometimes we see them make some really crucial early errors that cost them a couple of rounds. But this time, they're fighting from in front. They've got 3-round advantage here. It feels like it's much more doable for them. A great shot there. Herds just sees the legs of Drunks, takes him down as the opener is now able to think about that rotation. Obviously, Nomad's still unavailable, so you need to be more conscious of those stairs. Vitz doesn't know which one to go for. Eventually, will track onto highs and grab one back as a refrag.
Yeah, no surprise. Nomad being banned out. We expected this playstyle from INTZ, and it will gift them 1 kill. They have, of course, still a trade-off, though. It's still 4 versus 4 in the round right now, and with 45 seconds to go, W7M have to get a bit of a move on Ollie, because they have control of really not a lot. Herds will find Vitz, who is still lurking below inside a bakery. 30 seconds, where did W7M go? They don't have their top floor control of reading. Looks like GDN will step up to the mark and will try and engage into that player in behind the cocktail bar, and he wins against Oratao. At 2 versus 4, this is looking better from W7M, but Zack and VNX out of nowhere appear with 2 kills, and now it is a disarray round for W7M, and they've been tossed in by Panico, pitches in, but VNX has the lineup, has the Banshee to cover, and GDN has too many angles to cover, and he also goes down. What a great 2-3-4 from INTZ.
INTZ making it look very easy there. They kept good control of that top floor, and W7M running out of time, never able to get in and effectively start sledging open that floor and really starting to put a lot of pressure onto the players on site, demonstrated by the fact that there were 2 defenders in the site in the dying few seconds of the round. INTZ a much needed round for them there. They're going to breathe a small sigh of relief here that they've been able to pick one up. Down into the kitchen they go, still avoiding that top floor site. Not looking to go for the other mid-floor site either. W7M, they're probably going to be pretty well aware of this. Only 1 hard breacher being brought. Not too much of a problem. They maybe go for that bakery take, as it does seem to be rising in popularity. Especially with the smoke available to put off anything into the freezer. It can be a lot more difficult to get the job done back there. W7M demo, they need to move quicker on these attacks and stop getting peeked on the rappel. It's happened twice now. Get some claymores.
Yeah, especially whenever you know they banned Nomad for that very reason. Like, if you're... I'm sure for most people, if you see a team ban Nomad, you know exactly what's coming. On a map like Kafe, where there is how many windows, how many jump outs, you know what they're gonna do. I don't know, I feel as if this weekend there's been a lot of Siege 101 basics that the pro teams have just forgotten about.
We need to start a Siege school. Top 10 Claymore placements on Kafe.
Maybe that's a new series idea. We teach the pros.
Imagine.
Well, they'd be mortified.
It wouldn't go down well, would it?
Who knows? Maybe. But, right now, W7M, not looking the greatest after a bit of a throw round from them last time. But now this is going to be kitchen. This is supposed to be attacker-sided Ollie. Very, very difficult for defenders. I think INTZ had displayed that extremely well whenever they attacked onto the kitchen on their attacking half, where they flooded upstairs. They used the vertical destruction that you can get with Sledge. You opened up every angle. Nobody's in kitchen. And then you simply just try and push into VIP and restaurant. Extremely difficult. Again, that's where the Wamai ban comes in extremely heavy. And one thing I do worry about, if W7M are going to go for the same attack strategy as INTZ, where they go upstairs, they sledge, and then they work their way down to restaurant. Look at the ADS placements already from INTZ, is that they have 2 ADSs in bakery. That's the side of the map that probably won't be touched by W7M.
W7M typically fairly slow in these approaches. But chance to start opening up a lot of this vertical now, though. Panico can get himself in and start to disrupt what's going on. There will be a rotation back from bakery into site as well. A C4 swings upstairs, but it will miss. We give Panico another line of sight to try and check through, though. We can also open up into prep as well, so we really could catch somebody out here. More explosives hitting the floor from below, as the Ana clone will be sent in to drop to just scope things out. But with the amount of Toxic Babe canisters left, it's not going to be easy to get yourself through the kitchen. Birds thinks about a nade, but Inside's better. Knows that he needs to remove the player that's going to be inside of Christmas there. Can't really do it from this angle. The hatch drop is going to start looking quite desperate indeed. Nade thrown, but it isn't going to land very well at all. And now the Toxic Babes can start to come through. This is really what's going to slow down this push from INTZ. C4 lands and Herds pushes aggressively on through. Sat down by the shotgun as Hornetow is there to take him out. GDN, can he be the difference maker? Looking to power his way on in. Picks up 2, but denied. Vitz in position to shut him down. Panico next into the breach. 6 seconds left. Misses his shots on the second. Kai's, you know, 1 versus 2. Finds one. Pre-fires desperately, but a round that runs out of time yet again for W7M.
Difficult round for W7M. Time gets the better of them. Oh, where do you go? I mean, W7M set up correctly, I think, as they should. But you look at the position of the smoke, Ollie. How is he allowed to play in that position? Albeit, maybe dropping whenever the smoke grenade started choking up anyone who went into freezer maybe wasn't the best decision. And one mechanic as well that I think was featured quite well is the smoke grenades, they do cover your vision quite a bit. We seen from our perspective that the Ana looked straight at the smoke, but didn't recognize it was smoke because the vision was clouded.
Yeah.
Stuff like that, you know, it shows the strength of Smoke and how good he can be in those final 15, 10 seconds, whatever it is. You know, he is the clutch operator for a reason. We've seen more clutches in Smoke than any other operator, I think. Well, maybe because, you know, with the P10 Ronin clutches that have been coming at us left, right, and center this year, Ollie, maybe that's been dethroned. But I think historically it always has been your Smoke clutch in these rounds, and it just shows a perfect example. Just the kit that he can do it with is phenomenal.
It really has. And when you've got a smoke and you know you're going up against a smoke, you need to make allowances for that. You need to factor that in to how much time you've got at the end of the round. W7M didn't do that at all. It was a really flat push. They just tried to go, and it was we saw it through the observing really well. It was essentially one at a time that they were pushing on through that doorway and dropping into that hatch, and you just can't afford to be doing that. So a real tough one for W7M, and one that they can sort of look back on and quite easily see exactly what the problem was there. But they do get another chance here. Guys has expertly navigated his Twitch drone through, and we get to see him removing a little bit of utility. He's already taken out one of the ADSs. Might not seem like a lot, but pretty crucial. Going to be the ADS that's designed to keep the player in Cigar Shop safe, and without it, we're not going to be able to see Vitz play as aggressively on the doorway in there.
So we see another side on Kafe taking the castle. Obviously an interesting choice that we see, because most of the castle barricades that get placed are usually on outside windows, and outside windows not always the greatest. And oh my word, what is INTZ giving W7M? Just absolute freebies at the moment. But the main issue with bringing Castle, Ollie, is if you're putting them on outside windows, 9 times out of 10 we're seeing sledges. So a sledge can easily rappel up, sledge a window or two, puts himself at no risk whatsoever. So that would be the only issue that I think we see with Castle in this day and age. But one strong Castle barricade you can do is on that double door leading into Cigar Shop from Piano, the one that Zach is pretty much looking at right now. That's a great one. It just gives, I think, survivability to anyone inside of Piano, and it also allows someone who's playing in that pixel position, that's one less angle they need to worry about.
Herds picks his third kill of the round. I was going to say second, but it is actually his third as he takes down Zach. BNX makes the rotation back up White Stairs. He needs to move through to try and assist Drunks. There's a minute left here inside of the round. Lots of time for W7M to start making this execute happen. We've got 4 drones to gather information with. Castle barricade pops open behind him, and it's almost like a jump scare as Panico shuts him down, leaving a lot of work here to do for Drunks. Finds one, grabs the second. I didn't know that he was going to get that one. We got him full white flashed, so we didn't see exactly how it went. In fact, everybody was flashed in that final engagement. The hatch drop was true, or the skylight drop, should I say, and that puts W7M onto a match point.
Who needs Candelas, eh? Who needs
just flashbangs are the new Candela.
Flashbangs that have been massive, massive change. I mean, you can really see the buff that it's received has been very influential in a lot of rounds. So yeah, very, very strong buff that we see. And maybe that's why whenever we seen our Coastline game earlier on tonight, Ollie, and we were looking at a Buck being brought, and we seen Buck with flashes instead of Hard Breach Gadget. Maybe that's why we're seeing the flashes, because they're better than a Hard Breach Gadget in some of those scenarios.
I truly think that they are, and it's nice to see flashes being used as flashes as well, and not just
burns,
something to burn, because it puts more of a decision on what you actually use to burn things with, and now it's entirely viable to use anything to burn a piece of utility, as opposed to flashes just being that, well, you've got to use your flashes for it because they're pretty useless for everything else. So it also frees up the operators that get flashes, because their job now isn't just to go through and burn stuff. Makes it a really nice change. I think it's probably added a lot more flexibility onto the attackers as a whole, as of course being, you know, a pretty strong mechanic. You know, if you're full white flash, what can you do? You can't do anything. You can barely dodge away from them now as well. So, I mean, that was even demonstrated there by guys being full whited as he was dropping down the skylight.
So match point now for W7M. 1 round. This is all they need to secure a total of 3 points from this game. Look at their lineup. Have the Monty in. This is going to be a fun one to see how that plays out. Give credit W7M, Ollie. All of them have stepped up to the mark. Not a single player is below 7 kills. Then you look at INTZ. A lot of players stepping up for INTZ as well at the moment. Some very even score lines across both sides. Nobody really being a standout. Only one player in the lobby has reached double digits. Other than that, just a very entertaining game of Siege, and I don't really think we can prioritize on just one player. We're looking at a lot of them right now.
We really are, and again, it's good to see. You know, there's things riding on this game. It's similar to the first game that we had of the day in terms of just how close it's been throughout. Obviously, the scoreline's a little bit more. There's a little bit more of a gap in terms of the scoreline here, 6-4. But INTZ have had some good opportunities, and they've had some really good ideas. They've shown some good aggressive play tonight. Still not out of it yet. We all know how defense can go on this map. W7M, they've struggled to find success in a lot of the sites that they've attacked just yet. It was a 4-2 split at the half, so we could see 4-2-4-2, but obviously that 6th round, that potential for, that match point is a little bit more decisive. It's a bit more pressure for INTZ to work against. W7M still taking their time here, conscious of the run out. They don't want to have anybody flying out of the windows. That seems to be where Kai's is mainly concerned at the moment, as there's still a lot of players on the rappels.
Risky jump out there from Vitz, and he will take full advantage of that. Again, it almost feels as if they're just giving themselves away to W7M in a lot of these scenarios. But W7M have been very uniform, very disciplined, Ollie, as of late. You can see them, they're playing through their strategies, and oh, that's going to be a difficult one for Hornetau to fight against Monty. Live information, and Her just rips them apart. Guys with another one, and that's a 1v5 for VNX to go for. Ollie, has he got any hope?
He's going to find one, but can he find 4? Especially when one of them is a Monty. No C4 in hand. And that was probably some of the best demonstration we have ever seen of a Monty working through as a human drone. Players on rappel, able to shut down. Kais picks up the last. The plant was going down regardless. W7M have done everything they possibly could here today, and giving themselves the best chance possible of not being relegated. It still isn't guaranteed, but they can rest easy knowing they've put in a great performance here against INTZ. They're going to take the map 7 rounds to 4.
Yep, just getting better by the day, it seems to be for W7M. Good, hard-fought victory. Everyone from W7M really stepping up to the mark. So all credit to them. All credit to them. INTZ, we know this game didn't really mean a lot for them, Ollie, apart from self-pride, I suppose. But yeah, overall, INTZ just really struggling with how disciplined W7M were on those attacks.
Really disciplined, and it was shown in almost the run-outs as well. You know, obviously we spoke quite a bit there about the Nomad being banned. That was something that INTZ tried to take quite a lot of advantage of, and it didn't always work out for them, where W7M were more happy to just sit and play their own game. Sure, they still went for some aggression. We had herds outside for like 25 seconds at one point, for goodness sake. but it was a little bit more tempered and it was a lot more considered. I think that was one of the big differences there between those two sides. While there was aggression on both halves, it was a lot more considered and a lot more calculated from W7M. But that is going to be game number 2 done. We're going to bring Chunks back in here, maybe get ourselves an interview. But of course, we still have plenty of games remaining here. We've still got 3 left tonight, Chunks.
Yeah, I think the result of that match was probably the best result we possibly could have asked for. In terms of like a storyline point of view, W7M now potentially in a position to avoid relegation, potentially Demo, because it all comes down to that next Santos match now. So for now, they must be relieved, they must be happy about the win, but immediately they're going to start getting nervous again.
Yeah, I think, sure, the emotions, then I'm sure the good feeling that they're having right now, thinking, okay, good, we've won the game, but reality will soon hit them and realize that, hold on, it's not in our hands anymore. It's not down to us. And looking, speaking to a lot of professional players, whenever they're in scenarios where it's not down to themselves and they're relying on other teams, one of the worst feelings in the world. I think that's across any esport title. It's not down to you, and that's going to be definitely, I think, a heart-in-the-mouth moment throughout the Santos game for W7M. I'm sure they'll be watching.
Oh, I'm sure they will be glued to their screens for this match. We do have Panico here for an interview, so let's get him in here and see how that game was. As exciting as it is that you won, Panico, you've got to be nervous now because that Santos match is up next.
Hi guys, yeah, we won, but the it's not on our hands anymore. We need Liquid to win, but I guess Santos can win on overtime, and we still gonna escape the relegation. And that's it.
Yeah, it's a tricky situation to be in. I do have to ask though, if Santos end up winning, if they start getting the points, do you feel confident going into the relegation match that you can come back and be here for next stage?
Yes, I think so, because our team is on a. We are growing. We stay playing all the time, so we know our potentials. So I guess we can be here next year.
Well, I mean, this weekend, you guys have shown exactly what you're made of. I do want to ask, as it is the end of the BR6 for the year now, how you guys feel like you've improved over the year, because it definitely feels like you have come a long way. Were there any specific things you focused on this year as a way to try and improve yourselves?
Yes, this lineup we got now is like have everything we need. So we just need time to get the things on their own way.
Yep, I mean, you guys have done a great job at that. Shown signs of promise for the evening, but I'm going to let you go. I know it's going to be a nerve-wracking one, and best of luck to you.
Thank you.
Well, 2 games down. It has been a battle so far tonight, but still 3 more matches to go. You do not want to miss it. We'll be back in just a couple minutes with our final 3 games of the BR6.